Good evening. My name is Israel Gale. I'm an associate pastor of the Jerusalem Baptist Church with Brother Dan Cancino, who's the pastor. And before we start this study of the study, we would like to make you an invitation to church this coming Sunday. And we start we're there at 10:30, and you want to come and be with us. But today, Bible study is going to be found in 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verses 10 and 11. And it's building on the right foundation. While I was doing the study, I believe yesterday I went to Victoria, I went to the Lowe's to pick up our cabinets. And I ordered them 2 weeks ago, and so they didn't call the house. So I was wondering what was going on. So I went to Victoria to look up our cabinets, and find out that the guy that placed the order, I guess what he was doing, but nothing happened. My cabinets were not there, and I already paid for these cabinets, and. I told the lady, I said, well, I said, something's wrong here. You know, when somebody's in charge of a department, whether it's a church or Lowe's or whatever, he wants that department to be, he wants to work with that department and work it in a solid foundation, because you can't run a business like that. It's either it'll collapse, and that's what this story is all about: building on the right foundation. Of course, this Bible study it talks about the what we should do in not only with our Christian lives, but also with the church and what we teach in our church. So, building on the right Jesus Christ. Now, let me go back to 10, okay? According to the grace of God, which was given to me as a wise master builder, I have laid the foundation, and another builds on it, but let each one take heed how he builds on it. For no other foundation can anyone lay than that which is laid, which is Jesus Christ. What Paul was saying here to the church is that what Paul's desires of his heart is to preach Jesus Christ crucified. And when he landed at this church, he didn't come to please man. He came to please God. He came to please God. And in a few moments we're going to go into that, okay? But first we must build on the right foundation. And that foundation is Jesus Christ. When Paul came to Corinthians, he determined to preach only Christ and Him crucified. In 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verses 1 and 2, he says, and I, brother, when I came to you, did not come with excellence of speech or of wisdom, declaring to you the testimony of God. For I determined not to know anything among you except Jesus Christ and Him crucified. That was it. That was Paul's main key. Jesus Christ crucified. So he didn't come to please the people. He came, when he was called, he came to please God. So he laid the only foundation that would last. And when we build, you have a vision, you share with your family or with the church, the vision that you have because you know that vision came from God, and you're going to be surprised that a high percentage of church members today, I don't think they even know what vision is, you know. But when the pastor presents us the vision, oh man, this is great, Pastor. I think we need to come together. I think that you lead what the vision is what God has put you in your heart as a vision, and we'll follow. But then yet they can't see it. They can't see it. And the only way that we're going to build a church, to build it spiritually, it has to be in the foundation of Jesus Christ. It has to be. Jesus has to be the number one on all things. So a church cannot be built on a form of spiritual or a doctrinal emphasis. They felt was important. This kind of ministry will not last. Sooner or later, it will collapse. Remember, man, the Corinthians were emphasizing personalities. Talking about Paul, talking about Peter, talking about Apollo, when they should have been glorifying Christ. As we read 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verses 1 to 9, it gives you a better explanation. And it says, and I, brother, could not speak to you as to spiritual people, but as to carnal, as to babies in Christ. I fed you with milk and not with solid food, for until now you were not able to receive it, and even now you are still not able. For you are still carnal. For where there are envious, strife, and divisions among you, are you not carnal, and behaving like mere men? For when one says, I am of Paul, and another says, I am of Apollo, are you not carnal? Who then is Paul, and who then is Apollo? But ministers through whom you believe, as the Lord gave to each one. I planted, Apollo watered, but God gave the increases. And God gives the increases. So, in 8 verses 7 says, so then, neither he who plants is anything, neither he who waters, but God who gives the increases. Now, he who plants and he who waters are one. In other words, we're working together. There's no such a thing like independent. And each one will receive his own reward according to his own labor.
Amen.
Yeah, and that's what Paul is saying to this church. He didn't come to please the church. He came to please God.
Amen.
And matter of fact, this church, they were acting and they were living in life like there was no God. Yeah, so Paul kind of straightened them out. A ministry may seem to be successful for a while, for a time, but if it's not found on Christ, it will actually collapse and disappear. You know, nothing bothers me in going to small towns or barrios and see churches being boarded up. You know, the windows or bars on the windows, bars on the front doors and all that. It seems to me like there's a slave of the enemy, you know. And I don't know, but that really bothers me. It seems to me like it's a weak body. I mean, that's my opinion. But second, we must build with the right material. In verses 12 to 17 says it very clear. Now, if anyone builds on this foundation with gold, silver, precious stones, wood, hay, straw, each one's work will become clear, for the day will declare it, because it will be revealed by fire, and the fire will test each one's work of what sort it is. And so 14 says, if anyone work which he has built on it endorses, he will receive a reward.
Amen.
If anyone's work is burned, he will suffer loss, but he himself will be saved, yet so through fire. It's a strong message. So Paul described two oppositions of what we're talking about: gold, silver, and precious stones. Those are the main tools that we should use. This gold, silver, and precious stones. This will be a permanent, solid foundation, beautiful, valuable, hard to obtain. But then, sometimes and somehow, instead of building on gold, silver, and precious stones, we're building on wood, and hay, and stubble. In other words, passing through temporarily, ordinarily, even ugly, cheap, easy to obtain. In other words, we have to be careful.
Yes.
We have to be careful and see how we build in the kingdom of God. So what Paul wanted to symbolize by his choice of materials, he is not talking about people, because Christians are the living stones. That makes up God's temple. That makes up God's temple. And you find it in 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verses 5. Third, we must build according to the right plan. It's got to be the right plan. And this plan has got to be approved by God. By God. If it's not approved by God, then it's man's plan, not God's plan. Okay? We must build according to the right plan. Look at verses 18 and 20. Let no one deceive you. Let no one deceive you. Deceive himself. If anyone among you seems to be wise in this age, let him become a fool, that he may become wise. Wow. For the wisdom of this world, what's this? For the wisdom of this world is foolishness with God. For it is written, he catches the wise in their own craftiness. And again, the Lord knows the thoughts of the wise, that they are futile. So, we're going to come to that in a few moments to give a better explanation. So, it becomes a shock to some church members of us that you and I cannot manage a local church the same way we run the business. It won't work. It will never work. It will never work. I tell you what. This doesn't mean that we should not found good business principles. So we have to. But then yet, the operation is totally different. There is a wisdom of this world that works for the world, but it will not work for the church.
Amen.
It will not work for the church. And sometimes we want to do things the easy way out. I'm going to do it this way. Well, go ahead and do it that way, but if it's not God's way, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. And I'll tell you why. The world depends on promotions and influence of many important people. That's what this First Corinthians was all about. The church depends on prayer, the power of the Spirit, humility, and sacrifices and services. The church that imitates the world may seem, but it will turn into ashes in eternity because it was never of God. Wow. It was never of God. So, the church in the book of Acts had none of the secret successes. That seems too important. That seems too important today. Today, it's kind of confusing even to say it. But that's what the world offers us. Confusion. But the church in the book of Acts had none of the secret successes. What's this? That seems too important today. They owned no property. They had no influence in government. They had no treasury, no silver and gold. Have none, said Peter. Their leaders were men without special education and the acceptance of school. So education is good. But God doesn't look at the education, God looks at the heart. Once we give him a heart, everything else, God is going to place in order. It seems to me like it follows up with Matthew 6:33. Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. And then everything else, God is going to put in his place. But we have to seek first the kingdom of God. The kingdom of God and his righteousness. In other words, we have to join in with God in what he's doing. And his righteousness. And then everything else, he's going to put it in place. He's going to put it in place. And they had no audience either. They had no audience contest. No celebrities. And yet, they turned the world upside down. Isn't that something?
Wow.
Isn't that something? And yet they turned the world upside down. What I'm trying to say here is that if we can only turn ourselves loose to God, he can do the rest. And surrender all to the Lord. The Lord, here it is. You can do a better job with my life than I can.
Right.
You can do a better job with what I'm trying to do here than I can. When I was going to Houston, I told my wife that we need to pray before we leave. I said, Lord, you're going to have to take the wheel. I just go ahead and sit in the back seat because we're going through the heavy traffic. Heavy traffic. And that's just the way it is. You know what? Let me explain it this way. It gives you an insurance, it gives you a comfort, a peace.
That's right.
That Jesus is in the wheel. He's in the wheel. You're not in the wheel. He's in the wheel. And he's doing a tremendous work. Tremendous work. And I like that. That's my prayer every time I travel. God has a special plan for each local church. And he does. He does. I don't think that God messes the plan. Sometimes we mess the plan. It's just like this guy at Lowe's. Somehow or another, he didn't have his department organized. He messed up. I still haven't got my order yet, you know. He said, well, sir, we're going to look into this and see what happened, and we'll give you a call. That's all right. That's all right. But get it in order. The thing is that if it's not in order, it's going to be out of order.
Right.
It's going to be, if it's not organized, then it's
Yes.
going to be disorganized. So I'm going to close with this passage of scripture. In Philippians chapter 2, verses 12 and 13. 12 and 13.
That's it.
I tell my kids, I say, come on guys, get it together. Get it organized. We're coming to the end here, and we all want to be with the Lord. In Philippians chapter 2, verses 12 and 13, therefore, my beloved, as you have always obeyed, see, that's the main key. Trust and obey. Well, there's no other way, says the song. It says, therefore, my beloved, as you have always obeyed, not as in my presence only, but now much more in my absence. Work out your salvation, your own salvation, with fear and trembling.
Yes, sir.
Amen.
If every Christian could work out, we could work out our salvation with fear and trembling, we could turn the world upside down. God could use us,
Yeah.
you know. For it is God who works in you. A lot of times we want to work through God. It's not going to work. We got to let God work through us. I cannot work through God. For it is God who works in you both to will and to do for his good pleasure.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen?
Amen.
Amen.
Praise the Lord.
I like that. Thank you. And we love you and we appreciate you, and we'll see you next Wednesday.
Amen.
Amen.